Hey, what is going on, guys? Blue Cyric here. So today I'm going to be doing a review of the Gigabyte Z170-HD3P motherboard. Or 3P motherboard, jeez, can't even pronounce that. That's a mouthful to say. So this is a motherboard I bought for my home server. Just a bit of background. It's going to have a... Let's see if I can grab it. It's going to have an Intel Core i3 6100 processor in it. Now the reason I chose this motherboard over other kinds of motherboards is because it has, well, that leads into the features, I guess. So it does have USB 3.1. It includes also a USB Type-C connector, which is nice and fancy. I'm not sure how that's actually going to be used in the, in desktop towers or anything, but I guess we'll just have to see in the future. What I like about this motherboard is the future support for it. For example, fast onboard storage, so it has an M.2 slot capable of 32 gigabits per second, which is around 4 gigabytes per second. So the thing with Z170 motherboards is, compared to, like Z97 or Z87, these ones are a bit more expensive because, they're newer. But the thing is, this has a lot more future support compared to the Haswell Z87 and Z97 chipsets, because the M.2 on most Z97 motherboards was only 10 gigabits per second. And 10 gigabits over 6 gigabits per second for what you were paying for an M.2 was not really that great. So we have all the basic standards, supports 6th gen Intel Core processors, socket LGA 1151, Intel Z170 chipset. Graphics interface would be one PCI Express 3.0 x16 slot plus a PCI Express 3.0 X4 slot, and I'll get back to that in a moment on why that might be a little bit of an issue. Has HDMI, DVI-D, and D-sub, so VGA. Has dual channel DDR4, which I love. That's also another reason why I chose Z170 over Z97 or Z87. Expansion slots include two PCI Express 3.0 X1 slots, plus two PCI connectors, so for all your legacy devices and such. A lot of motherboards these days don't even have PCI slots anymore. It's all PCI Express now. SATA RAID includes RAID 0, 1, 5, and 10. This is going to be for a home server, so I might just buy a separate RAID controller so I can put this in RAID 6, but I wasn't really expecting to use the motherboard RAID anyway. So two USB 3.1 ports, which is nice, so that's double the speed of USB 3.0, as you can see up here. And one USB Type-C connector, which is great. 7 USB 3.0 connectors, and 6 USB 2.0 connectors, which is a lot of I/O. However, this is on the motherboard, so this will all be like front panel. Just has, the basic 8-channel Realtek green Gigabit Ethernet, I guess. Yeah, Gigabit Ethernet. That's pretty standard nowadays. Form factor is ATX. I was planning on buying an extended ATX motherboard just because my future case will be supporting it, but ATX works just fine too. Also supports 4K display support. I guess that's a thing. HDMI 2.0, which is nice, I guess, but I don't know anybody that would ever actually want to use that. But so that's pretty much the features. All right, let's get to opening this. So first, you just have your I/O plate. That's pretty standard. You get two SATA 3 connectors, and here it is. Okay, so one thing I just wanted to mention, I'm not sure if this is just my motherboard or if it's because it was, because I got a good deal on Micro Center for it. I'm not sure what the case is, but I thought I'd mention this. The I/O plating is really loose, and it's on both heat sinks here for the VRMs and chipset. I'm not sure if this is an issue with just my board or if it's just maybe a manufacturing defect. But I would like to see better quality control on something like this. Again, I'm not sure if it's the case because I got this so cheap at Micro Center or if it's because it was, it got damaged in shipping. I'm not sure, but I thought I'd just point that out there. Just like we said, we have the M.2 slot right here, which we'll see above the graphics card. We got DDR4 support, got two front panel USB 3.0 headers. We got SATA Express for SATA ports. Never actually owned a motherboard with SATA Express. We also have legacy support, which is always great to see, because if for whatever reason your USB devices don't ever work, it's always nice to have that legacy support through PS2 ports. Keyboards using PS2 connectors are still a thing. And then there's your two USB 2.0 connectors, DVI, D-sub, or VGA. Then you have your USB Type-C connector. You have USB 3.1, USB 3.0, HDMI 2.0. Now this is what I wanted to get back to for PCI Express. So this is a PCI Express 3.0 X16 slot. So any graphics cards will be compatible with this slot because it's X16. That's fine. Here's the issue. This is a PCI Express 3.0 X4 slot. I believe it's electronically an 8X slot, but it only supports bandwidth for 4X. I can't tell because of the light inside the connectors, but you'll see that there's no pins for the rest of these connectors. Here's why this is an issue. This will work fine with AMD Crossfire. In fact, you can probably even see AMD Crossfire right there. But here's the issue with NVIDIA SLI. NVIDIA SLI requires 2 graphics cards to be in 8X slots minimum each. And because this is only supporting 4X, SLI compatibility is a no-go on this motherboard. You cannot have 2 NVIDIA graphics cards running an SLI in tangent with each other on this motherboard, which can be a deal breaker for a lot of people, but I mean, again, I'm gonna be using this for a home server, so I mean, this isn't really a concern. Let's just go back over these. So you know, you have your 24-pin, 8-pin CPU power connector. This is a motherboard capable of overclocking, since it is a Z170 chipset. That's pretty much it. So moving on to pricing. Pricing for this thing is actually a great deal, in my opinion, for Z170 motherboards, because I bought this at Micro Center for like, what was it, $87 or something like that, which I think is a great price for if you just want a Z170 motherboard that, you know, it doesn't have all the fancy, you know, like shield plating and all that kind of stuff, but it's a board that has all the features and it just works. You can find these motherboards for usually around $100 online, $100 to $120 online. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all that shiz. I don't know what people are doing these days. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.